Murti representation. Abhidhanena in sound. Mantra Murtim form representation of transcendental sound. Amurtikam, the Lord who has no material form. Yajate, worship. Yajna, Vishnu. Purusham, the personality of Godhead. Saha, he alone. Samyak, perfectly. Darsanaha, one who has seen. Uman, person. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. Translation with repetition. Thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Our present senses are all made up of material elements, and therefore they are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. He is therefore worshipped by sound representation via the transcendental method of chanting. Anything which is beyond the scope of experience by our imperfect senses can be realized fully by the sound representation. A person transmitting sound from a far distant place can be factually experienced. If this is materially possible, why not spiritually? This experience is not a vague, impersonal experience. It is actually an experience of the transcendental personality of Godhead who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. In the Amarikos Sanskrit dictionary, the word murti carries import in twofold meanings, namely form and difficulty. Therefore, Amurtikam is explained by Acharya Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura as meaning without difficulty. The transcendental form of eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original spiritual senses, which can be revived by chanting the holy mantras or transcendental sound representations. Such sound should be received from the transparent agency of the bona fide spiritual master, and the chanting may be practiced by the direction of the spiritual master. That will gradually lead us nearer to the Lord. This method of worship is recommended in the Pancharatrik system, which is both recognized and authorized. The Pancharatrik system has the most authorized codes for transcendental devotional service. Without the help of such codes, one cannot approach the Lord, certainly not by dry philosophical speculation. The Pancharatrik system is both practical and suitable for this age of quarrel. The Pancharatra is more important than the Vedanta for this modern age. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this is towards the end of this 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the wonderful conversation between Narad Muni and Srila Vyasadeva. There are two more verses which are remaining. And the instructions given by Narad Muni are so powerful, especially this verse that we are speaking today is one of the most important verses for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It's very important for the devotees who are associated with Srila Prabhupada's movement or Sri Chaitanya's movement. Now, if you remember or recall, there are a lot of things which are happening in this conversation. There were symptoms of Vedavyas not being satisfied, which is spotted by Narada Muni. Then he is explaining him what is the reason for his dissatisfaction. And in the course of explanation, he's giving his own example of past life, how his life got transformed. And now towards the conclusion, he's going to share something which is very, very powerful, very important, which we are seeing. Now imagine, Rajnikanth ji, if you have gone for an interview, what is the first question the interviewer will ask? What could be one of the first questions? Profile and experience. What could be one of the last questions that they would ask? If you have any questions, maybe one question before that. Last but one. When will the salary be discussed? After we clear the interview. So it is not that the most confidential thing is discussed at the beginning. When you start, you break the ice, you ask about yourself, explain those things, and then it goes. And as the interview progresses, if you're doing well, towards the end comes the salary part, which is very important, right? That's the real motivation, one of the motivations why we are looking for a job. Similarly, in this conversation also, when we have a conversation and Narad Muni is explaining, actually, this chapter is so important. I wish we could go through one more time this chapter, maybe many more times, because it is so relevant for all of us. But towards the end, having spoken so many things, now Narad Muni is trying to give the crystal, like, you solidify, and then you say that this is what exactly you have to do, and this is what has been has to be performed by you. So he is narrowing it down from a broader funnel to a narrowing to the things that can be done practically in our life. So today's topic is worshipping Krishna by chanting the holy name. I'm just reminding you of the verse that we had spoken earlier, where I'm not reading the verse, but in the same 5th chapter, he's saying, whatever you desire to describe, which is separate in vision from the Lord, simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. So whatever we do in this world, whatever we desire to describe, which is separate in vision from the Lord, if the Lord is not involved and we have some desire, we want to achieve, we want to describe, we want to accomplish, we want to indulge, then it simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. See, the boat which doesn't have a resting place, no shelter, a normal wind can agitate. Similarly, if there is no resting place for us in our lives, which is in the form of shelter of the Lord, then it only agitates whatever we do. If you remember last class, the translation was, let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva, along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi, Pradyumnaya Aniruddhaya, Namah Sankarshanaya Cha. So the instruction for Vyasadeva by Narad Muni was, let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva, along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan. These are the quadruple expansions. So this is where Narad Muni had spoken this verse in the last class that we had taken. And today's verse is in connection with the last class. So he's telling, the instruction was very clear, let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva, along with his plenary expansions. And we will see today what it is. But in the purport of last verse, the last but one line, Prabhupada actually says the most confidential part of the instruction is that one should always chant and remember the glories of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions, expanded as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Mind you, Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of Worldwide Hare Krishna movement, is telling the most confidential part of the instruction. So far, as I said, you don't speak about the most confidential thing in the beginning. You bring it up, you build it up, and then you reveal it towards the end. So many things are told. Unless those premises are formed, unless those foundational knowledge is given, conclusion cannot be appreciated. Of course, we need to engage in devotional service. Of course, anything that we are doing in this life without Krishna has got a reaction. All these things is told, and how it got transformed, how the mercy of pure devotee is required. But ultimately, what is the most confidential thing? What is it that I should do? The most confidential part of the instruction is that one should always chant and remember the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions expanded as Vasudev, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So one should always chant and remember the glories. Chant and remember. See. Let's see the verse that we have for today. Iti murti abhidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajate yajna purusham sasamyak darshana kuma. Very poetic, very beautiful, very nice verse, and very important for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. If you see the first two lines of this verse, Iti murti abhidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam. So the word murti is used thrice. Iti murti abhidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajate yajna purusham sasamyak darshana puman. And these three words, murtis, have different meanings and the different ways Prabhupada is explaining this. Very beautiful explanations. So, murti basically represents form. Like we have the murti of some deities, right? So that's the form. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So murti is a form. Basically, you have a person and you have got a murti of that. But here the verse is telling iti murti abhidhanena, and the word abhidhana means sound. So iti murti abhidhanena, the sound representation. Iti murti abhidhanena. Then mantra murtim amurtikam. Mantra murtim, actually the Lord, when he manifests as deities, we call them as Archa Vigraha. And the Lord can manifest as well as in the form of sound. That's why we call it as Nama Prabhu. Mantra Murtim. There is a Murti. Mantra Murtim. Amurtikam. Amurtikam is referring to that the Lord doesn't have a material form. That Lord who doesn't have a material form can manifest in the form of Mantra Murtim or in the form of the representation of transcendental sound. Yajate Yajna Purusham Sasamyak Darshanaha Puma. Yajate, who worships the Lord, who is Amurtikam, who is Yajna Purusham, but who is also Mantra Murtim, by Murti Abhidhanena, Sasamyak Darshanaha Puman. He's actually he's the best seer. His Samyak is perfect, the most complete. Darshanaha, he's seeing the Lord in the best possible way. The translation is, thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. He is the actual seer, Samyak Darshanaha, who worships Yajate in the form of transcendental sound representation, Mantra Murtim, Murti Abhidhanena, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yajna Purusham, Vishnu, Yajna Purusham, who has no material form, Amurtikam. So this is the verse. Why it is so important? Because our whole movement of ISKCON is based on this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And this is where, there are so many confidential instructions in Bhagavatam which are given, which establishes the process that we are following, and it solidifies or it reaffirms our faith in this process. These are not some whimsical things which are given or asked to be followed. very, very practical and relevant. Towards the end of this instruction and the conversation between Narad and Vedavyas, he's telling this is the method. He is the actual seer, Samyak Darsana, who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation. Murti Avidhanena, Mantra Murti. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, Yajna Purusham, who has no material form, Amurtika. 2 verses before, the first line of the purport, an expert devotee of the Lord can mold his life in such a way that while performing all kinds of duties, either for this or the next life, he can constantly remember the Lord's name, fame, qualities, etc. So the portion in the red says he can constantly remember the Lord's name, fame, qualities, etc. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, dismartavyam na jatuchit. This is the goal of human life. We have to mold our life in such a way that we are able to remember the Lord's name, fame, qualities, etc. throughout. Let's see the wonderful purport. Actually, the purport is so brilliant. I've divided the purport into 3 parts. Unfortunately, with a racing mind, lack of attention span, to register things is very difficult. And what we don't realize is, who knows whether we will get another chance or an opportunity to hear this? Who knows whether we will get an opportunity like this will come in life where we are able to discuss Narad Muni and Vedavyasa's discussion. So first part is, in the first paragraph of the purport, Prabhupada is actually telling, our present senses are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. So our present senses are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. Why is it so? Mataji, why is it so? We're in the material world. Teamwork. Illusion is it. Pull there to a resume. Oh, I was बोलो फिर से. There was a story where 10 people were crossing a river. They crossed the river and they were counting how many are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then another person said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then one person is missing. Somebody has got drowned. What they were not doing was they were not counting themselves. Right? So here 4 mistakes are there. Somebody said 1, 2, 3. Fourth. 1, 2, 3. The fourth is you to assume. So imperfect senses. We need to know all this, right? What are the 4 defects that human beings have? Our senses are imperfect. We are subjected to illusion. We commit mistakes, and we have a cheating tendency. So this is the first one. Our present senses are imperfect. Why our present senses are imperfect? Envious of Krishna, that's why you have got imperfect senses. So what? Huh? Okay, then the mind. So I am asking question very specific. Our senses are imperfect. Why? How? Research. What research? Spiritual senses are covered by material senses. Okay, but why present senses are imperfect? No, think of yourself when you are perceiving different things. Let's say I want to know about this object. So if there is a light which is falling and there is a reflection of that light which falls in my retina, I get a perception of that object. If there is no light, if my eye is defective, if something, I can't perceive it. Just about one senses I'm talking. Or you want to see like, you take a glass of water and you put a pencil in that, it appears bent. Right? So our senses are imperfect because we have limitations with both, not both, in all, whether it is eyes or ears or touching or smelling or tasting, everything has got limitations. So that is why our present senses are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. And Prabhupada is saying why? Because our present senses are all made up of material elements. And the Lord is transcendental. Where is it mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? कोई ऊपर नहीं देखेगा. Where is it mentioned? Where is it transcendental? Not correct. Research. Some research has to happen in Bhagavad Gita also. Scholars of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that is a good one. Which verse? What is the verse? Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Purusham Saswatam Divyam. No, Tadhama Param. Tadhama hai nahi usme. Tadhama Paramam Mama is in 8th chapter. This is 10th chapter where Arjuna is concluding. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Purusham Saswatam Divyam. What was the last line? No. Adi Devam Param Viv. Ajam Viv. Actually, that verse has got 8 different characteristics of the Supreme Absolute. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Purusam Saswatam Divyam. Divyam is transcendental. So he is telling here, our present senses are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So with our present material senses, we can't realize Krishna. Because the senses are made up of material elements. That is why I'm saying there is one Bhagavad Gita which is telling about Divyam. Where else in Bhagavatam it is mentioned about the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu? Which one? Second chapter, all the avatars are not there. That's in 3rd chapter. No, but where is transcendental there? This verse is Bhagavad Gita. I'm asking. Amurtikam. You have to tell reference from before. No, this not. If this verse only. before. We've not gone there. Savai Pumsa. मिलके नहीं एक एक करके सवई पुंसा Don't know. Hmm. So there, the word that is used for Krishna is Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja has two parts to it. Adhokshaja. Some things we think we know, some things we actually know, some things we really don't know. So Adho Akshaja. Adha Akshaja. Akshaja refers to senses, especially to eyes. So Adha is who's beyond. So the first line of this verse, Prabhupada is saying that our senses are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form. Transcendental form means it is not in the material platform. What is in the material platform? Let's say this chair or this table, or for that matter, any material form that we are seeing. Over a period of time, it decays. It may take some time, including our own material body, but it decays. It decays and it gets finished. It has a form which we can see, like this is a book, this is a laptop, this is a phone, this is a glass. All this have form. But so some people, that's why question, can you show me God? No, but he is not in this material plane. It cannot be perceived with our material elements, with our material eyes. That is why he is therefore worshipped by sound representation. That's what Prabhupada writes next time. And why through sound representation? That we will see. And the sound representation is the transcendental method of chanting. Very interestingly, if you read the first paragraph again, our present senses are all made up of material elements. And therefore, they are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. So why they are imperfect? Because it is made up of material elements. And hence, they cannot realize the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. He is therefore worshipped by sound representation via the transcendental method of chanting. And here's a question which Prabhupada is asking. Anything which is beyond the scope of our experience by our imperfect senses can be realized fully by the sound representation. Suppose you are sitting here, Rajnikantji, and somebody shouts, Rajnikant! You're not able to see who is it. But that sound can reach, even though you are surrounded by this material thing. And that sound, if it is Rajnikant, you come here, then you'll run. You'll go. There is an action also. So Prabhupada's question is, a person transmitting sound from a far distant place can be factually experienced. If this is materially possible, why not spiritually? So question is very, very simple. If materially we are able to perceive sound and it is asking us to take some action, why not spiritually? This experience is not a vague impersonal experience. It is actually an experience of the transcendental personality of Godhead, who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Imagine a person who is there in a far off place who's calling you. Just by hearing his sound, everything about him you can perceive. What is his state of mind? What's going on? Similarly, the Lord, who is beyond this material realm, who cannot be perceived by our material senses, can be perceived through the transcendental sound vibration. And what is this transcendental sound vibration? How we can perceive him? We will see that. That Prabhupada again further explains. But this is the method. It is actually an experience of the transcendental personality of Godhead, who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. That Supreme Lord, if you want to perceive him, the best method is this transcendental chanting of the names of the Lord. Okay. We'll go to the part 2. There is something which is still there in part 1. We will come to that. How do we perceive the transcendental form of the Lord? But very interestingly, the same verse takes another meaning when we see it from our acharyas. This is the contribution of great acharyas. The first half of the paragraph or the purport, actually Prabhupada is giving the direct meaning of this verse. Iti murti avidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajate yajna purusham sasamyak darsanaha puma. So it is like, I worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. One sentence I made. Then I say, I worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through the transcendental sound vibration of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Right? Now here I is the subject and object is Krishna, and the verb is worship, yajate. So I am worshipping Krishna, and then by the transcendental sound vibration is the method that I am applying. Now that Krishna is amurtikam. he cannot be perceived. He doesn't have a material form. And he can be perceived, mantra murti. He has a form which he appears. He can appear in the form of sound, like he can appear in the form of archa, and he can be perceived by transcendental sound vibration. But the second paragraph, actually Prabhupada quotes from Amar Kos. Amar Kos is a dictionary of Sanskrit words. And Prabhupada is saying that the word murti has two meanings. One is form, which we saw right now, what we discussed. The other one is difficulty. And then Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, amurtikam means without difficulty. So if you want to perceive that Lord who cannot be perceived, who cannot be felt by our material senses, can be perceived without difficulty by taking the names of the Lord. Amurtikam, Amurtika. So Yajna Purusham, that Yajna Purusham, we can perceive him by transcendental sound vibration without difficulty. Amurtikam. So there is a way how we can do that. One may question that Lord who is transcendental, still you are using your material tongue, you are using your material ears to hear that sound, then how will you perceive that transcendental Lord who doesn't belong to this material realm? And that is very nicely explained in this purport. Prabhupada is saying that the transcendental form of eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original spiritual senses. How will you experience this? The transcendental form of the Lord, how will you experience? From the sentence. By our original spiritual senses. You want to perceive the transcendental Lord? You can experience it by our original spiritual senses. Where is the spiritual sense? So then Prabhupada is saying, how? Which can be revived. So our spiritual senses can be revived by chanting of the holy mantras or transcendental sound representations. Right now it is not there, but the spiritual sense can be revived. Only when you have the spiritual sense can you experience the eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by the transcendental sound representations. That is why such sound should be received. Okay, another thing is, it is not just the transcendental sound representation which will revive our spiritual senses by which we can experience. That transcendental sound also should come from a bona fide spiritual master. It cannot be, you cannot receive it from anywhere and it will work. It is not going to work. So the chanting may be practiced by the direction of the spiritual master. Please pay attention. These are all very important things. You want to perceive the Lord who's transcendental, who has got transcendental form, who's full of knowledge and bliss. It can only be possible if you have transcendental, if you have got spiritual senses. How do you get spiritual senses? You can get spiritual senses by chanting the holy mantras. So when we chant the mantras, it actually purifies our senses. It makes the senses spiritual. And when that happens, we can experience the Lord. But the mantra which we are chanting should be given by a transparent agency of the bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, the mantra will be nishphala. It will not have any power. And this chanting may be practiced by the direction of the spiritual master. Okay, let's see the first part which Prabhupada is saying, that by chanting of the holy mantras, our senses can be revived. The best example for this is our Shikshastakam, the first prayer which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offers. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Badhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnam Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When we chant the names of the Lord, is a cleansing process. The heart like mirror gets cleansed of all the dust. So that is the material senses, which is covering the spiritual senses with all these contaminations. When they get removed, they become spiritualized. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. There is a fire, there is a Agni which is burning in our heart. What is that Agni? That Agni is how, because of the material conception of life, that conception of life that we have, how I can be successful in this material world, how I can enjoy this material world, how I can be the controller of this material world. Because of that conception of life, there is constant anxiety, there is constant fear, there is constant friction. So that is called Agni, Bhava Maha Dava Agni. So that Bhava Maha Dava Agni Nirvapanam, it gets completely extinguished. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Maha Dava Agni Nirvapanam. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. It brings the fortune, good fortune of all auspiciousness. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Vidya Badhu Jivan. Transcendental knowledge arises in our heart. Anandam Badhivardhanam. In every step, you can experience transcendental bliss. And it is ever increasing. Anandam Badhivardhanam. Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Every step one can experience the nectar. Sarvatma Snapanam. One becomes deserving candidate, one becomes eligible to experience this. Sarvatma Snapanam, by bathing in this holy names. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. This is our process, this is our method. Actually, the glories of holy name is there in the scriptures in various places. The contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our acharyas, that they have taken these instructions and have given it so that people like us in this Kali Yuga can practice this and can get benefited. These are not ordinarily revealed. And that is why it is so important to know this and follow this strictly. But the interesting thing which Prabhupada says is that this mantra has to be given by a pure devotee spiritual master. Otherwise it is Nisphala. In Vrindavan, when Krishna Balram temple was getting constructed, the temple president at that time was Suravi. Who was the temple president? Suravi, who was the Suravi? Spiritual word? Cow. Suravi cow. Suravi Prabhu, he was a temple president, and then what happened? He went to some Gaudiya Mutt where he heard one kind of singing which says Bhaja Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Bhaja Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. So this devotee, because they are all foreigners, and for them Gaudiya Mutt is also equal to ISKCON, right? So they were chanting that. He was chanting, he was humming Bhaja Hare Bhaja Bhaja no Bhaja Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Prabhupada heard that, and then he called him. Where did you hear this? Some Gaudiya Mutt somewhere I heard this. So he said, don't chant all this. Why? What is the second verse of Sikshashtakam? Namna Makari. Namna Makari Bahudha Nija Sarva Saktis. Right? So all the names of the Lord has potency. So what's wrong if I'm chanting Bhaja Radheshyam Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram? What is wrong in that? One may question. So actually one needs to question when you are taking some information, you need to ask yourself. So what is wrong with that? Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu contradicting himself, or Prabhupada is saying that you should not chant that? Why is it that? Now, there is another instruction which is given, Sampradaya Bihina Mantra Nishphala. If it is not coming in the bona fide Sampradaya and you are taking that mantra and chanting, this Nisphala, it will not have impact. That is why, if you see the earlier days, Prabhupada, one slow chanting is there. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, he sings that. Then later on, Prabhupada never sang Bhaja. It is Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. The word Bhaja, because there is this confusion, Bhaja Nitai Gaura Radhesyam, whatever, that Bhaja. Prabhupada removed that word Bhaja itself. Our mantra that we chant is a very bona fide mantra which is coming from Kalisantarana Upanishad. And this mantra is so powerful, can cleanse Chetodarpana Marjana, no other method. But as I said, it has to come from a bona fide spiritual master, and unless it is coming from a bona fide spiritual master, any random mantra will not work. If you want to be in this parampara, in this sampradaya, then you have to follow the mantra which is given by Prabhupada. Very interestingly, actually, as I said, now this conversation between Narad Muni and Vedavyas is getting more personal and more confidential. The process that he is telling now, so Iti, that is actually this verse starts with Iti Murti Amidhanena. So thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material. But to this process of chanting, actually there is a quality which is also involved. It is not simply randomly. So first thing is you have to chant this transcendental sound vibration. This chanting should come from a bona fide spiritual master. And the third thing is there is a quality of this chanting, which is so important. Which is very nicely, is one of my favorite verses of Kunti Maharani's prayer. Janmaishwarya Shrutashribhir, Edhamana Madah Puman, Naivartya Vidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gochara. In this verse, if you see, what happens is there are certain kind of people who lack that quality. And Kunti Maharani says, those people who are attached to Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shrivir. Janma is aristocratic birth, Aishwarya is opulence, Shruta is education or intelligence, and Sri is beauty, right? So material people, material world, and material conception of life is to have a very wonderful birth, increase our opulence, look beautiful, attractive, and appear intelligent. So Janmaishwarya Shrivir Edhamana, and people are trying to increase these activities, these 4 activities in this material world. So when they are increasing in these 4 directions, how I can have nice opulence and beauty and I can show off or whatever. I mean, I just want to increase those things. Then suddenly there is a mada which comes. There is an intoxication. And when that happens, Edamana Madah Kuman Naivartim Avidhatum Vai, then qualitatively, like feelingly chanting will not come. Naivarti Avidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gochara. So the Lord cannot be approached feelingly. The names of the Lord cannot be chanted feelingly when somebody has got this materialistic conceptions of life. Janmaishwarya Shrutasri. Actually, this quality of chanting is very nicely explained in the next verse. Beautiful verse. We will see it in the next class, but it talks about that and very important thing. But right now, this is enough to say that if these 4 things are there, sometimes people chant for years and years and years. They don't see any result, or they don't feel that bliss or the experience of the transcendental bliss is not coming. The reason being, the heart has still got material desires. As long as those materialistic desires are there in the heart, the experience of bliss will not come. The holy name is not affecting, it's not touching because of those materialistic conceptions of life. It needs to go. Edamana Madah Puman, Naivartya Vidhatum Vai Kinchan Gochara. Now I'll come to the part 3, the third part, which is there in the third, not the third paragraph, in the same second paragraph towards the end. And very interestingly, Prabhupada brings a powerful thing which probably we will not see or not know. He talks about Pancharatric system. What is Pancharatric system? Where did you hear Pancharatra? Panchatantra nahi hai. Pancharatra. Whom did he give? Huh? Not to Vyasadeva. He has given a set of instructions. Pancharatric, there are 5 nights, Pancharatrika. This method of worship is recommended in the Pancharatri. What is the system that we follow? Mukund? What kind of system we follow in ISKCON? Is it Pancharatric or is it something else? Huh? No. It's there, it's not. What is the process? What is the philosophy that we follow? What is the path? research. What is the other one? Hey, you have to have the research and to Mataji. So there is two marga. One is called Pancharatrik marga. The other one is Bhagavata Viddhi. Bhagavat marga. Prabhupada has given a combination of both these two. We don't follow only Pancharatrik marga, which is the worshipping the form of the Lord. And what is that Pancharatrik form we will see now. There is also Bhagavat Viddhi. What is Bhagavat Viddhi? Hi. Chanting, okay. Reading Bhagavatam will come. It's chanting and hearing and remembering the Lord. Actually, this Bhagavata Viddhi is meant for very exalted people. The worship of Radha Krishna, like what Sanatana Goswami used to argue with Madan Mohan. Today you are asking me for salt. Tomorrow you'll ask something else. Where will I get this? He used to give some dry chapati to Madan Mohan to eat. Right? But we can't do like that. Tomorrow also we'll say, take dry chapati, eat only with that. Don't ask anything else. We are not in that stage. It's a very exalted state. Only devotees who are like, above Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa or Madhurya Rasa can have that kind of a relationship where there is no rules and regulations. You're just chanting and you are hearing and you are remembering the names of the Lord. That's Bhagavad Gita. But the worship that we do in ISKCON is actually the worship of Radha Krishna is also in the form of Lakshmi Narayana, where there are strict rules and regulations. But anyway, the method of worship is recommended in the Pancharatrik system, which is both recognized and authorized. The Pancharatrika system has the most authorized codes for transcendental devotional service. Without the help of such codes, one cannot approach the Lord. So the Pancharatrika system was meant for people who were in the family of Brahmanas, for whom the Jata Karma has been done, Garbhadhana Samskara has been performed. They become the recipient of following this system. Not everybody. Who? For whom? Jataka. Okay. And which is the other one? So unless that is done, a person, if he is not a qualified Brahmana, he cannot do Pancharatrika Viddhi. He cannot worship. So it is very exclusive. It is meant for only a certain class of people who can do this, right? And but Prabhupada has introduced this, but very carefully. Initially, when Prabhupada went, and there are a lot of do's and don'ts, there are a lot of regulations that has to be followed when somebody is following the Pancharatrika Viddhi. When Prabhupada initially came to the US, he didn't have all the rules and regulations. You're eating meat, you're out. You're drinking, you're out. Illicit sex, out. He didn't do it. Then nobody would have been there, right? He didn't put any of this restrictions or the impositions. It was only about chanting. You chant, you develop that purity. You come to a certain stage, and slowly one day, when in the 26nd Avenue, when they got initiated, even after that, Prabhupada put one small notice: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no cinema, no gambling, no tea, coffee. They said, oh my God, these are all rules and regulations you have to follow. They had no idea about all those things. So our method, which Prabhupada has given, is a combination of both Bhagavad Viddhi as well as Pancharatrika Viddhi. I want to talk about one very interesting incident which happened. Again, I'm reading one book by that, how this Krishna Balram temple came in Vrindavan. And this is, again, the Suravidas was recalling. Very interesting incident. Anybody knows when the temple was inaugurated? Krishna Balram temple? Huh? No, which time of the year? April. Towards almost the same time as our DT installation happened in Bangalore, right? And close to Ram Navami. So there was one very well-known guru at that time, because they were inviting. It was a big festival. They wanted to invite all the local stalwarts, whoever were there, to participate in that festival. So Surabhi Prabhu is telling that there's one disciple of Prabhupada who was sent to invite this. His name is Kripari, or his name is Karpari or something like that. Karpari Maharaj, very famous in now. This disciple goes to him. Maharaj, please come. The temple inauguration. Krishna Balram, and they're installing. That fellow says, "Oh, you are a disciple of Swami Maharaj." So Surabhi Prabhu is recalling that there was a sarcasm in that. So you are a Westerner body, and you are a disciple of Swami Maharaj, and he's doing a temple, and temple inauguration, you've come to invite me. So this devotee said, "Yes, I'm a humble servant of my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada." And then he speaks one verse very interestingly. This verse is spoken by Narad Muni. He's telling, "Yasya yal lakshanam proktam pumso varnabhi vyanjana pumso varnabhi vyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat teneva vinirdishet. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam pumso varnabhi vyanjakam." Does anybody remember in the scriptures, what does it say about the people who are born in Kali Yuga? What are they? Huh? Sudras. What is the verse? Huh? Kalau Sudra Sambhavat. Janmana Jayate Sudra. So Kali Yuga, every one of us was born at Sudra. There is no question of Brahmana and all. But this verse of Narada Muni is a very powerful one. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam. And by the way, nobody is born Brahmana just because he's born in a family of Brahmanas. It's not by birth. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam pumso varnabhi vyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat teneva vinirdishyet. So he's telling, Narada Muni is actually telling, Yasya yal lakshanam proktam. Whatever lakshana or symptoms one is showing, manifesting, doesn't matter whether he's born in Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Sudra. What symptoms is manifesting, based on that you should indulge him, or you should engage him in that kind of service. Yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat teneva vinirdishyet. So he quoted this verse, and he also read the translation. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra as described above, even if he has appeared in different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. And when he spoke this verse, that Maharaj Karpari, Maharaj, he became very humbled. Swami Maharaj has taught you nicely, and you are able to quote from Bhagavatam. You are explaining the right verse. Because in Vrindavan, to accept this Western body people as Brahmanas was a very difficult thing. It was not easy, because people who are in this Western bodies are all considered to be mlechas, and they had all this no qualifications. Forget about Western bodies, even we ourselves are doing all these kind of things. Where is the question of the Westerners only? But it is only the mercy of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. It is only the mercy of a pure devotee like Narad Muni, who accepted disciples from various parts of life, including one hunter, so many different kinds of people. So a pure devotee, when he accepts, he automatically gives the qualification which the disciple lacks and brings him to the stage of Brahmana. Just see in our own lives, whatever we were earlier, by whatever extent, to the extent that we are able to chant Hare Krishna mantra, some of us have come to the stage of becoming Brahmana. Some are in the process, some are trying to. This is only sheer mercy of Srila Prabhupada that we are here. That is why we should be so serious and grateful and be strict about following this, and know our method which is given by our acharyas, and our previous acharyas are so bona fide. To conclude our discussion, we've run out of time, but the last thing that I wanted to say is the sound thing, which I didn't conclude at the beginning. The first thing, how does this sound? This is the summary of this entire verse. Why does the sound work, or how does the sound work? This is a verse from Bhagavatam 3:26-32. I'm just reading the translation. When egoism in ignorance is agitated by the sex energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the subtle element sound is manifested, and from sound comes the ethereal sky and the sense of hearing. Actually, it is fascinating to see how the creation comes about. What comes first? What comes after that? What comes next? So you see the translation, when egoism in ignorance is agitated by the sex energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the subtle element of sound is manifested. I want all of you to go and read the purport of this verse. I keep telling, of course, it's up to you, but you can read. It's a very powerful purport. Some of the important points from the purport, I have put it here. The first thing that we need to understand and remember and realize is that sound is the origin. So Prabhupada writes, it appears from the above verse that all the objects of our sense gratification are the products of egoism in ignorance. See, all the objects of our sense gratification are the products of egoism in ignorance. It is understood from this verse that by the agitation of the element of egoism in ignorance, the first thing produced was sound, which is the subtle form of ether. Any material concepts we have anywhere, it's egoism in ignorance. I want to enjoy whatever that enjoyment may be. I want to sleep, I want to do something. There is an ego involved and there is ignorance also. So even before we do anything, any action that we perform physically, first the sound, we hear that. It is there in our mind. That thing keeps ringing. Yeah, I should do this. There is a hope that I'll enjoy. And that motivates the action. First thing produced was sound, which is the subtle form of ether. The sound is the origin of all objects of material possession. Sound is the origin of all objects of material possession. Somewhere I heard something came, and that comes in my mind. I can be happy. I can be in a happier state by having that. So that becomes, so sound is the origin of all objects of material possession. But very interestingly, Prabhupada says, the same sound can dissolve material existence also. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is stated, Anabritihi sasabda. It's a very powerful Anabritihi. Abriti is to cover, Anabriti is to remove. Anabritihi sasabda. Liberation by sound. The entire material manifestation began from sound, and sound can also and sound can also end material entanglement if it has a particular potency. So the entire manifestation is coming from sound. The same sound can end the material entanglement if it has a particular potency. The particular sound capable of doing this is the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This particular sound is capable. It has that potency to dissolve this material existence. Purified sound does all the magic. Our entanglement in material affairs has begun from material sound. If we want to relieve ourselves from this entanglement, we must purify that sound in spiritual understanding. Actually, when I was telling that Naivartim Avidhatumbai, feelingly one is not able to chant this, mechanically somebody is trying to finish rounds. You're not going to get that effect because there are material desires, which is coming from a sound in egoism and ignorance that we are hearing now. Karunga is ignorance, it's foolish. And that egoism and ignorance keeps us in this material world, doesn't allow us to dissolve this material existence. So here it is very important point. The material entanglement is starting from sound, and the same sound, if it is qualified, if it is potent, it can dissolve our material entanglements. If we want to relieve ourselves from this entanglement, we must purify that sound in spiritual understanding. So approach the sound in the spiritual world. If purified sound can disentangle us, we should know the source of that sound. The sound is therefore in the spiritual world. If we approach that sound, then our spiritual life begins, and the other requirements for spiritual advancement can be supplied. How do we approach the spiritual sound? Through the bona fide spiritual master. And the purport actually says a few more things. The bona fide spiritual master broadcasts the sound vibration from the spiritual planets called Vaikuntha. The inhabitants of the spiritual planets headed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself are certainly not deaf and dumb, and they are in constant communication through unlimited transcendental bliss and knowledge. And the bona fide spiritual master can transmit this sound vibration of bliss and knowledge to his disciple. This is the clue. This is confirmed by Srila Narottam Das Thakura, who sings Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana. This doesn't belong to this material world. It's a Golokera Premadhana. It's a treasure of Goloka, Harinama Sankirtana. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the treasure of love of Godhead, which is imported from the spiritual planet of Goloka. Hence, approaching the sound vibration alone can take us off the blazing fire of conditional life. Like that, the scriptures, which are so vast, in between this, instructions are there. And our acharyas knowingly have taken this essence. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken the essence and is telling, chant the names of the Lord. This is the bona fide process that we are following, and we are extremely fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada, from whom we have got this mantra. If after that also we don't take it seriously, who is to be blamed? I'll stop here. Any question or any comments? Any question? By them brought the sound thing. Yeah. So next Pancharatriga Vidhi is all the Vidhi part. Nectar of devotion is all about that. Yeah. No, of course, Bhagavad Vidhi is also there. It talks about what is the state when one experiences Krishna Prema, and all is all there. But to begin with, for all of us, it is important to follow that sadhana very strictly. Because we don't have that, the fact that the cowherd boys of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, used to go and put his arms around him. We can't go and do the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we stand like that. Oh, this is not meant for. These are all sahajiyas. That's why that bhaja jai, bhaja nitai gaura radhesham japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. So those kind of things are all sahajiyas. They don't follow. Yeah. In the Vidhi Marga, when we don't have a taste, when our senses are lacking the spiritual bliss because the condition of jaundice, right? We are not able to experience that. It is important to follow the rules and regulations. Regularly eating the diet, regularly taking the medicine, and the medicine is chanting the names of the Lord, hearing regularly. All this has to be done strictly. These are strict things. If it is not done strictly, disease continues, prolongs. Disease state, that's why not able to experience the transference. Rajnikant, any reflection, anything from the class? How many rounds you are chanting? That's very less increase. Actually, what happens is in our mind, we think we have a lot of time. आज करे सो कल करे सो परसों, then आगे क्या है? Some nurse overs कुछ है. There is. Huh? No. This is for postponing, procrastinating. आज करे सो कल करे सो परसों करे सो नरसों. Then. That's exactly what is not the thing. It is postponing. A person who procrastinates, he says, "Aaj kare so kal." Why you want to do it today? Today, tomorrow कल क्यों करना है, परसों क्यों करना है, next day we'll see. Like that we think in our mind. But what we don't realize is time is finite. Every one of us, we've got a finite quota of time, and time goes very quickly unless there is a constant repeated practice made. Very tough. So soon, very soon, one has to come to chant minimum 16 rounds. Otherwise, we don't have hope. At least chanting, there is a quality aspect of it that comes later. At least chanting 16 rounds brings us to the mode of goodness. Unless we come to the goodness, this passion and ignorance is always disturbing and agitating. Online, any question anybody has? Giriji? Gyanji?
No problem.
So next class, and there are two more verses. I want to actually in the 40th verse, the last verse. Most of this verses actually I was having the great fortune to take class, and I would say that this is one of the most powerful chapters of Bhagavatam. What we would do in the last verse of Bhagavatam, have a summary of all the things that happened in Narad Muni's life. What led to what led to what. What are those things that he did? Just a summary, a flowchart, just so that we remember this. And we not just remember, we apply it. Actually, the application of this knowledge will give us the confidence, will give us the bliss, will give us the realization. Otherwise, we hear and go and hear and go, hear and go. Then again, we again come next week, again blank. It will not work. The fire has to, the iron has to always be in touch with the fire. For it to act like fire, it should be constantly in touch with that fire. We put water, then we bring it. We put water, then again we bring it to water, fire. Not right. We'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.